worrying about booking a flight and getting on a plane. The continents are all intact and never split up. This means that plate tectonics doesn't exist. There are just slabs of massive rocks stuck on the Earth's mantle. So earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanoes don't exist either. You drive from the west coast all the way to the east, passing through the regular spots like Texas, Missouri, New York, and so on. You reach the border and read a sign, "Welcome to Morocco," in English and Arabic. You arrive in the country, and many people welcome you. They all speak English, since both countries are neighbors. After Morocco, you decide to drive north to Europe and some places in Asia before heading back south to Australia and India. With all the countries so close together, cultural similarities exist depending on the neighboring countries. Japan isn't an island anymore. In fact, there are no islands big enough for any country to exist. You drive up north from Morocco and reach the borders of Spain. And after some amazing tapas and flamenco music, ole, you drive through Paris, the city of love, and reach Iceland. It's not as icy as you imagined. It's actually quite warm. It's on the same latitude as Germany, but there are no mountains dividing the countries. Iceland doesn't have famous volcanoes like on our present-day Earth, but the people are nice. Because of the lack of plate tectonics, mountains weren't able to form throughout Pangaea, which means living in certain elevations just doesn't exist. As you continue driving through Europe, you spot some tornadoes on the horizon. You drive away as fast as you can before they catch up to you. Tornadoes need flat lands to exist, and since Pangaea is essentially all sea level, tornadoes are a common sight. And in the tropics, typhoons and hurricanes are equally threatening. You make it out and arrive in Italy for some yummy pasta. You look at the wonderful sights before you continue driving north through Scandinavia and make a quick detour to Greenland, which is actually green. Unlike our modern-day Earth, Greenland isn't located so far north next to the Arctic Circle. You spend some nights there and continue driving through Europe. You notice some beautiful landscapes and amazing sights on your way to China and eventually Japan. This territory isn't as cold as it is on our Earth, but it is just as vast. The countries of Southeast Asia are some of the coldest on Pangaea now. China is now technically the North Pole. You head there and witness the magnificent northern lights while having some amazing Chinese food. Vietnam doesn't have tropical rainforests, and the temperatures aren't that high. It's snowing almost all the time in neighboring countries like Thailand, the Philippines, and even a part of India. The animal life is also different. Polar bears are casually wandering around places near Manila and Bangkok. Sea lions are also pretty common, as opposed to the tropical fish in the reefs. You can even find some Canadian moose in Malaysia and snow leopards in Indonesia. After some yummy dishes, you get back in your car, but it breaks down. You've been traveling for almost a week without stopping for maintenance. Your road trip isn't over yet, so you book a flight from North India to South India. They're two of the only countries to be divided and not touching on their borders. You book a flight on Pangaea Air and see some of the best views you can imagine. The closer you get to the center of this giant continent, the higher the temperatures. Because the ocean is so far away, there isn't much rainfall in such places, and the air isn't moist at all. Places in Africa and South America are considered to be the hottest on Earth. Brazil has plenty of deserts, but that's not stopping them from all that soccer. After many layovers, you finally arrive in South India, and even further south is Australia, Antarctica, and New Zealand, which is the southernmost country. You decide to rent a car and drive around and check out Nepal, which isn't too far away. Mount Everest is here, but it's no higher than a hill. It's actually just called Everest Hill. The entire land is just as cold as the north. Sydney and Melbourne have some of the best ski resorts, but instead of high mountain ski slopes, there are artificial ramps to ski down from. You head south to Australia to check out some more sights. Unlike present-day Australia, there isn't much diversity and unique wildlife. evolution didn't play much of a role in creating new species, or even different versions of certain animals. The top predators from millions of years ago are still the same ones as today. And because the lands are all locked together, animal migration is a lot easier than on our Earth. You wouldn't be surprised to see some elephants in Africa walking all the way to Spain and Portugal for the winters. Many animals that went extinct from natural causes are currently thriving, like woolly mammoths and saber-toothed cats. Since most of the countries are near the equator, animal life suited for those conditions, like reptiles, have been thriving and constantly growing. After Australia, check out Antarctica to have some fun. This giant piece of land is a desolate continent sitting at the bottom of the world. It's a country with a huge population and many cool things to do. Tourism is also big, since anyone can reach it easily. You arrive in Antarctica and meet many of the locals who welcome you to their country. You try out the local cuisine and listen to traditional music. You get some souvenirs and drive all the way west to South Africa, which is also kind of cold. With countries neighboring each other, the world economy is always high, since importing and exporting is mainly by road. So, each country has a trading railway network that connects them all over the world. A few boats exist, but they aren't that popular or important. And since the lands are all flat, building a railway network is a lot easier than in a place with mountains and bodies of water in between. After your trip to South Africa, you drive to Argentina and check out the sceneries. You drive around Chile and are back to the coast. You're moving along the narrow country until you reach Peru and eventually Mexico. Beach mode on. After spending some time near the coldest parts of the world, you finally get to relax by the coast and sip on some fruity tropical drinks. You party up with the locals and go jet skiing in the waves. Home isn't that far away, so you hop on a plane and fly all the way back home with a ton of souvenirs and memories. The whole trip lasted just about a month. History also took a whole different turn, starting with the Age of Exploration. Instead of creating ships to sail out to different continents, explorers built caravans to roam around the land, to travel, and learn about different cultures. Without oceans separating people, bartering for goods started even earlier than the Age of Exploration. It was easier for people to migrate whenever and wherever they wanted. If they didn't like the heat, they could move north or south for the cool breeze. And if you didn't like the chilly temperatures, going to a tropical climate was extremely easy too. As time went on, the invention of the automobile arrived way sooner than on our Earth. Investing in ships and boats wasn't as necessary as today. Natural resources were now scattered in different parts of Pangaea, making some countries wealthier than others. But with such a rich trading culture, wealth was easily divided among different countries. The vast oceans have little islands that were explored, but sailing from the coast of Mexico would take you around the world to Turkey. Flying over oceans is super limited, especially with the super advanced railroad networks, but traveling by car is a lot more fun.